Hello, you're watching VNA News Bulletin. I'm from Hanoi, and now the headlines as usual. Prime Minister Nguyen Xuan Phuc begins official visit to China. Judge Buddha statue conveys peace message. Hanoi children enjoy traditional Mid-Autumn Festival. On September 12th, State President Tran Dai Quang hosted reception for Singaporean Deputy Prime Minister and Coordinating Minister for National Security Teo Chee Hean, who is on official visit to Vietnam. State President Tran Dai Quang stressed that the ongoing visit has tightened political ties in general and relations between Vietnamese and Singaporean leaders in particular, laying a firm foundation for the bilateral relationship to develop to a new height. President Quang expressed his wish that Singaporean businesses could boost their investments through adventure funds, exchange information, and share experience with Vietnamese partners. Deputy Prime Minister Teo Chee Hean said foreign investors, including Singaporean enterprises, have been pleased with Vietnam's continuous efforts to improve its investment environment. He noted that Singaporean firms are interested in projects to develop high-technology parks and industries with high added value. Regarding regional issues, President Quang spoke highly of Singapore's stance on the EC. Deputy Teo Chee Hean said, as the coordinator for China-ASEAN relations, Singapore will urge related nations to strictly implement the Declaration on the Conduct of Parties in the EC, soon sign a Code of Conduct in EC, and settle disputes through peaceful measures. At the meeting with the Singaporean leader, National Assembly Chairwoman Nguyễn Thị Kim Ngân highly evaluated and congratulated Singapore on its achievements and high economic growth in recent years. She hoped that the close relations and mutual trust between leaders, governments, and people of the two nations will give an impetus to the Vietnam-Singapore strategic partnership. Deputy Teo Chee Hean praised Vietnam's role as one of the founding members of the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement, believing this could have Vietnam gain advantages in attracting investments and stepping up international integration. The same day, State President Tran Dai Quang received Governor of Japan's Aichi Prefecture, Hideaki Omura, and a delegation of the Kansai Economic Federation led by its chairman Shosuke Mori. While receiving Governor of Japan's Aichi Prefecture, Hideaki Omura, President Quang expressed his pleasure at the growing friendship and cooperation between Vietnam and the Japanese prefecture, noting that more than 100 enterprises from Aichi are investing in Vietnam, and over 13,000 Vietnamese are living in the prefecture. The state leader held the signing of cooperative documents between Aichi Prefecture and Ho Chi Minh City during this trip. He hoped that more firms from Aichi Prefecture and Japan's Central region will invest in Vietnam in the future in such fields as manufacturing, industry, and agriculture. For his part, Omura called on the president to give more support to Aichi firms in expanding investment operations in Vietnam. At the reception for a delegation of the Kansai Economic Federation led by its chairman Shosuke Mori, President Quang said Kansai is one of the Japanese areas having projects in Vietnam, including those with large amounts of investment capital. He affirmed that the Vietnamese government commits to creating the most favorable conditions for Japanese investors, including those from Kansai, to do their business in Vietnam. Chairman Shosuke Mori said Kansai always attaches importance to economic, trade, and investment ties with Vietnam. Mori said he hopes the Kansai Economic Cooperation Roundtable, held for the first time in 2013, will become the annual event, facilitating Kansai business contributions to Vietnam's sustainable development. Prime Minister Nguyen Xuan Phuc began his official visit to China on September 12. The visit is made at the invitation of Chinese Premier Li Keqiang. is the first visit to China by high-ranking leader of Vietnam after the 12th National Party Congress. Vietnam and China set up their diplomatic ties in 1950. Bilateral trade hit $95.8 billion in 2015, a year-on-year increase of 14.6%. In the first 7 months of this year, Vietnam's exports to China reached $10.85 billion, up 14.93%, while its imports stood at $16.47 billion, down 3.42%. As of July, China secured 1,500 investment projects in Vietnam worth $10.86 billion, out of 116 countries and territories investing in Vietnam. China continued to take the lead in the number of tourists to Vietnam, with nearly 1.5 million in the first 7 months of this year, accounting for over 1/4 of international holidaymakers to Vietnam in the period.
Following the welcome ceremony, the two prime ministers held talks. Host and guest informed each other's situation of their respective party and country, exchanged views on important issues in bilateral relations, and reached a common perception on deepening the Vietnam-China Comprehensive Strategic Cooperative Partnership in the new situation. The two leaders agreed to work together to preserve and promote the Vietnam-China friendship, enhance mutual political trust, boost cooperation for reciprocal benefits, while control and properly settle existing differences and emerging issues so as to further build up the bilateral relationship for the people's interests and for peace, stability and development in the region and the world. Regarding the marine issue, Prime Minister Phuc emphasized Vietnam's persistent stance on settling disputes in this sea through peaceful measures in line with international law, including the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, 1982. Amidst complicated developments, Prime Minister Phuc suggested the two sides strictly abide by agreements and perceptions by the senior leaders, while control differences at sea, not conduct actions to complicate and expand disputes, effectively implement the Declaration on the Conduct of Parties in the Sea, and suicide code of conduct in the waters. Premier Lee Quang agreed with major orientations and measures proposed by Prime Minister Phuc and promised to join hands with Vietnam to well control differences at sea and maintain China-Vietnam relations for peace and stability in this sea.
The third session of the 14th National Assembly Standing Committee opened in Hanoi on September 12. National Assembly Chairwoman Nguyễn Kim Ngân chaired the session.
In her opening remark, Ngân said the session will last until September 22nd, focusing on legislation and preparations for the second section of the 14th National Assembly, which is scheduled to begin on October 20th. The committee members will focus on collecting opinions on the revisions of the draft laws on associations, the draft law on belief and religion, and the draft law on asset auction, which was submitted to the 13th National Assembly. They will give opinions on 10 draft laws and 1 draft resolution that will be submitted to the 14th National Assembly at its upcoming session, including the law on irrigation, the revised railway law, the law on amendments and supplements to some articles of the law on technology transfer, the law on foreign trade management, the law on management and use of state assets revised, among others. They will also debate and give comments on reports delivered by the Chief Justice of the Supreme People's Court of Vietnam, the Prosecutor General of the Supreme People's Procuracy, and the government's reports on crime and law violation fighting, and the committee's issuance of the 2 resolutions to guide the implementation of the law on state budget in 2015.
The world's biggest street Buddha statue has continued its tour to convey the peace message in Vietnam when it arrived at the Sept Pagoda in the northern province of Vĩnh Phúc. At the ceremony to welcome the statue, called J Buddha for Peace, local Buddhist monks and followers conducted rituals and prayed for peace and happiness. The statue will be placed at Dixon Pagoda until September 18th, during which a number of activities will be held such as sermons on Buddha's teachings, a ceremony to pray for peace, and a requiem for heroic martyrs. The Jade Buddha for Peace statue was carved from the 18-ton block of gemstone quality jade discovered in Canada in 2000. The carving was carried out in Thailand and finished in December 2008. The statue, 2.54 meters tall and over 4.5 tons in weight, has toured more than 100 cities in over 20 countries worldwide. It was brought to Vietnam for the first time in 2009 and has been displayed in various pagodas in the country. After finishing its trip in Vietnam this time, the statue will be permanently installed in Australia. Dozens of ancient tombs and objects of various kinds have been excavated at the Ba Hoa Cave in the central province of Binh Thuận. Now let's take a look. Archaeologists dug 5 holes with a total area of 324 square meters and found 43 tombs, mostly jar tombs and pot tombs, which were buried at an average depth of 60 to 70 centimeters. Objects buried with the tombs are stone tools and ceramic objects used in daily life like jars and bowls. Archaeologists said initial research shows the relic may be dated to the period of pre-Sahuin culture from 3,500 to 2,500 before Christ. Scientists will conduct further research to determine the relationship between the cultural layer and the tombs, as well as the relationship between the cave and other relic sites in the region. Taking place at the Vietnamese Women's Museum in Hanoi, a traditional full moon celebration has brought tremendous joy to local children. Let's take a look.
Painting marks, making lanterns, knitting mooncakes. These are traditional activities of a Vietnamese family celebrating the full moon festival in the past that have rarely been seen nowadays. That's why the children are having a lot of fun at the event, where they can prepare their own festival just like it is used to be.
I'm making a jammy mooncake to bring home for my family. I see a lot of excitement around, and I'm having a lot of fun.
Parents are also having a good time with their children while teaching them the traditional Vietnamese custom during this time of the year.
I'm very excited, and so is my child. Programs like this help children understand more about folk games.
Aiming at children of between 18 months and 10 years old, the beloved Moon event has brought an interesting hands-on experience for children, kindling their love for the country's traditional culture.
And that has wrapped up our news bulletin. Thanks for joining us, and goodbye for now.